Hello, welcome to class. This is the seventh module of the course Economic Management and Policy Analysis, and we'll be discussing on development, policy, and economic planning. Development, policy, and economic planning. And in the course of the module, we'll be discussing on the concepts of economic development and underemployment. We also look into growth model. We look at poverty, inequality, and inclusive growth. We also look at sustainable development goals, and we will look at the planning instruments and strategies. And when we talk about economic development, what do we actually mean? It actually signifies sustained improvement in economic, social, and institutional structure, leading to a better quality of life. And it goes beyond the GDP to include education, health, infrastructure, and governance. According to Todaro and Smith 2015, the divine economic development has a sustained increase in living standard, reduction in poverty, inequality, and unemployment, and the expansion of economic and social choices available to people. And as per the underemployment, it is a state where a country cannot provide adequate living standard for most citizens, and it's characterized by low productivity, widespread poverty, poor health, weak institution, and economic dependence. And looking at the key indicators of development, this include the Human Development Index. We also have the reduction of poverty and inequality, structural transformation, and lastly, the institutional and technological progress. And the features of underdevelopment are: first, it is known for low per capita income. Also, it's actually known for high poverty and unemployment. Also, it's characterized by poor infrastructure. It's also characterized by economic dependency. There is presence of inequality and social exclusion. And lastly, you see institutional weakness in such a country or economy. Looking at growth model, these are models that provide framework to explain how economies expand over time and what factors drive sustained increases in output and living standard. And they are vital tool for understanding development dynamics and guiding policy. And three influential models in development economics are the Harrod-Domar model, the Solow neoclassical model, and the endogenous growth theory. Looking at the growth Harrod-Domar model, this is a model developed by Roe Harrod 1939 and FC Domar 1946, and it highlights the critical role of savings and investment in driving economic growth. And it posits that an economy's growth rate depends directly on the saving level of the productivity of capital, and that is the capital output ratio, and it is calculated as G is equal to S divided by V, where G is the growth rate of GDP, S is the savings rate, and V is the capital output ratio. And what are the implications of policy as it pertains to Harrod-Domar? One, it encourages savings and investment. It's for growth purposes, And the second one is that the model highlights the role of investment in infrastructure, industries and productive capacity for sustained development. And it's with criticism. And for this, you can see a criticism for overemphasis on uh, capital, neglecting human capital and technology. Another is unrealistic assumption, as per savings may not always equal investment, and there can be leakages. And lastly, neglect of innovation. These are the criticisms that are raised as per the Harold Doma growth model. Another is the solo model, and for solo growth model, it's developed by Robert Solow, 1950s, and it analyzes long-term economic growth, focusing on capital accumulation, labor growth, and technological progress. And it introduced diminishing return to capital and emphasizes technology for sustained growth. And for this, it can be seen the mechanism for solo model includes the mechanism can also be a procedure principle for solo model include capital accumulation where investment increases capital stock and depreciation reduce it. And also for steady state, net investment is zero and economic growth is at stable rate. And actually, another is the role of technology, where it talks about the essentials for sustained per capita income growth, offsetting diminishing returns. For the endogenous growth model, this is a growth model by Paul Roma and Robert Lucas in 1980s. And this addresses the solo model limitation by explaining growth within the system itself. And it posits that growth is driven by intentional investment in research and development, education, and innovation, leading to increasing returns to scale in knowledge. And the strength of this model is that it explains sustained long-run growth, and also it highlights innovation, education, and institutional quality. However, it has a limitation in assuming knowledge creates positive spillover, and also in terms of requiring strong governance and financial capacity. Moving to poverty, inequality, and inclusive growth, which is another aspect of the module. It's poverty is a condition where individuals lack financial resources for basic need, and it's measured as absolute poverty, that is fixed minimum income, e.g., like World Bank $2.15 per day, or relative poverty in relationship to societal average. And inequality refers to the unequal distribution of income, wealth, or opportunity measured by Gini coefficients. And for the inclusive growth, economic growth, it's economic growth that is broad-based, equitable, and sustainable, ensuring development benefits are shared across all society segments. And it aims to produce both poverty and inequality. And key features of this are that the aspect of job creation for a broad section of the population, and also equal access to quality education, healthcare and infrastructure, and social protection. And this is with policy to support vulnerable groups. We look at the Sustainable Development Goals, the SDG, and this is adopted by the UN in September 2015. It has 17 interconnected SDGs, a global blueprint to end poverty, protect the planet, and also ensure peace and prosperity for all by 2030. That's the focus. And when we look at that, it actually includes no poverty, zero hunger, clean water, good health, gender equality, quality education, and the likes of affordable and clean energy, and so on. We have life below water, life on land, in just making sure that everybody is able to live, to end poverty, protect the planet, and ensure peace and prosperity for everyone by 2030. And this is the reason for the SDGs. And the SDGs emphasizes holistic development, global commitment, measurable target, and inclusion, aiming to leave no one behind. We have the planning instrument and strategy. Economic planning is a deliberate process for government to set development objectives and allocate resources. So planning instruments are tools for preparation, implementation, and evaluation. And while planning strategies are the approaches used to achieve um, objective. So the instruments that are used for planning are the national development plans. We have the annual budget, the 5-year plan, the project appraiser tool, and monitoring and evaluation framework. And the strategies are the indicative versus the directive planning, the short-term versus long-term, top-down versus bottom-up, the sectoral and integrated planning, the export-led versus the import substitution, and the sustainable development. Everything is well explained in the notes. And in conclusion, development policy and economic planning are indispensable for inclusive and sustainable growth. Growth model provides theoretical insights, but practical application require policy addressing poverty, inequality, and social exclusion. So success lies in creating equitable opportunity, strengthening institution, and also securing a resilient future for everyone.